Hi, my name is David Poff, and I'm going to be interviewing George Poff, my father, and what he does and how he got to where he is right now. So, first thing we'll start off is, where did you go to school?
I went to school. I was high school. I went to Linesville Area High School in Linesville, Pennsylvania. Then I went to college at Edinburgh University in Pennsylvania, and I majored in criminal justice, and I received a Bachelor of Arts degree in criminal justice.
Nice. Did you have any internships while you were at college?
I did an internship my senior year in Independence, Ohio. I worked for Pinkerton Investigations. It's a private investigations internship. We did background checks for a CPA accounting firm in California. We did checks for people that were on doing workman's comp fraud for people that were in California. It was a company that was based out of Florida. We did it in Cleveland.
Did that help you decide what you wanted to do or what you didn't want to do?
In a way, yeah, because whenever I worked there, they stocked the banks, the ATM machines. So there was the investigations aspect, there was the bank aspect, and then there was a security firm. They actually offered me employment in all three of those areas before the end of my internship.
And what was your big takeaways from this experience?
Just the networking of people that you knew and the people that you saw, people that you met, the different things that you didn't know that they were responsible for. You know, it was just a lot of we were in Independence, Ohio, and we were actually working for a firm in Florida. The Workman's Comp Board was in Florida. The CPA firm was in California. It was just amazing that it was just such a broad spectrum of people that you work for in one small area. You were only in one office in Independence, and you get to know all these people basically throughout the country.
Mm-hmm. And did any of those connections help you?
They would have, but whenever I completed my internship, I went back to work for my parents for a little while because my dad had got hurt, so I kind of stopped that for a little bit.
Gotcha. So can you explain the path that you took to get the position you are now, and explain your position?
Well, the position that I'm in now, I work for the Department of Corrections. I'm a Deputy Superintendent for Security. I got married and moved to New York State, which I didn't think I would ever move to New York State. I moved to New York State. At the time, I was driving truck, and I had my bachelor's degree, as we already discussed, and I started taking civil service exams, and I took parole civil service exam. I took a civil service exam for corrections in Cattaraugus County, and then I took the state exam for corrections. I got called, and at the time it was not a good year for when I was driving, and I went and tried it out and took the job.
Gotcha. So what do you do on your average day to day?
The average day to day, I'm like I said before, I'm the Deputy Superintendent for Security, so I oversee all the security aspects for Collins Correctional Facility. I have approximately 370 some officers under my charge. I have 28 sergeants, 10 lieutenants, and 2 captains. So on a day-to-day basis, it's the policies that we look over, and we give formal direction to the line staff as to what needs to be accomplished on a day-to-day basis for all time, and then any extracurricular things that would come up on like right now we're dealing with this COVID-19 stuff, and every day it just changes. We've had probably close to 250 mandates from the state within the last month and a half of things that need to be accomplished inside the correctional facility, and it's my job to ensure that the direction is given to the staff and the follow-up for that they are completing the tasks that are mandated to do.
Do you work with anyone that that you talk a lot with, or in our class we talk a lot about working in teams? Is there any working in teams that you do?
The team the executive team is the superintendent, myself, which is the depth of security, the depth of programs, and the depth of admin. We are the ones that are, the superintendent is obviously the boss, and then his areas that he needs things done, he farms it out to us. And as a team, we work together to decide which aspect or which faction, for lack of a better word, is responsible for it. If it's a monetary thing, it's an admin thing. If it's a program thing, it belongs to the programs. If it's a security thing, it belongs to me. And then my direct line is the two captains that I have, and those are the ones that I spend the most time with. So on a daily basis, I will meet with the captains, and we will discuss, what transpired from the last time we were there, whether it be yesterday, over the weekend, whatever, anything that's happened, and then anything that we need to do today, that we need to get done today, any mandates or any special direction that we need to give to the line staff for that day. And then I meet with them probably at least 3 or 4 times a day to discuss where we're at, what we're doing, and where we're going.
Do you think that you have strengths on the job and they have strengths on the job, and you guys work together to?
The business that we're in is, like I say, it's corrections, and to me anyway, it's a people-oriented thing. We basically, I manage people. I manage people on both sides of the fence. I manage the inmates. We've got almost 1,000 inmates at Collins, and then I manage the staff. So I look at myself kind of like as a salesman for the mission of the department, to say this is what we need to get done, and I need the line staff to understand it and to do it, and I need the inmates to understand it and to follow the directions that are given. Do
you think that's harder to have to deal with like both sides and kind of have that?
It is in a way, but then in another way, it's like I say, most of it for me anyway is communication. You need to be able to talk to people, and you need to be able to get them to understand what it is you want and why you need to have that done. So, like I say, it becomes you're basically a salesman. I'm running a sales pitch to get you to buy into the policy, to say why do you want to do the policy? Because I don't have all day to sit beside you and to make sure that you're doing it, and to make I need you to understand it, and I need you to understand why it needs to be done, and I need you to understand how to do it. Right. So you gotta, like I say, you gotta sell the policy to them, and then you gotta get them to buy in on the plan, to say that they want to do it.
Right.
Whether it be because they think it's a good idea or because they want to collect a paycheck at the end of the week.
Right. Do you think what you like, since you started out as a CO and like as a part of those linemen, do you think that helped you understand like what they like, be more understanding towards them, and like?
Yeah, that's one of the things that everybody always talks about, is never forget where you came from.
Right.
So just because now you are a manager, it started out as a correction officer in 1997. In 2002, I became a corrections sergeant, which is the next step from the officer. And then in 2009, I became a correctional lieutenant. And then in 2012, I was a captain. And then in 2018, I became Depth of Security at Collins. And yes, you have to spend time in those areas so that you understand what your responsibility is in that area.
Right.
And then when you move to the next step, then you understand what the responsibility is for that step, along with the previous step.
Right.
So, and then it's a progression. So you couldn't start out, in my opinion anyway, doing my job, not knowing what the job of the captains are, what the job of the lieutenants are, what
Right.
the job of the sergeants are, what the job of the officer is. It would be very difficult. We have probably over 5,000 directives that they're basically our policies, to say what we need to do and why we need to do it and when we need to do it and how we need to do it. So it's taken 20 years to learn the process as to what needs to be done and how it needs to be done.
Right. Gotcha. All right. Well, I think that can wrap up our interview here. So